Is this thing on? All right, welcome back to another episode of my rad movie Redline tribute bike build. Today, you see I've got a rear wheel on here and I've got some brakes mocked up. I'm gonna show you my custom U-brake setup that's a little bit different. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the back wheel off and tip this thing up so you can actually get a look at the brake and what I've got here. So what I did is I went and just mocked it up with a regular brake cable instead of messing around with a gyro cable. Just in case I messed it up, I didn't want to end up cutting it too short or anything like that. So regular brake cable, just to test it. And so let's see, set that up without ruining my painting. And I'll bring you in close here. All right. So what we've got here is basically I've taken the stirrup from a V-brake and put it up here. So what that does is, you can see here on the frame, it used to have the mount. This is where the cable would go, and then you'd have the bridge. What I discovered is that, and here we'll go over and look at the front brake on my Master. So years ago when they started doing this, to adapt U-brakes to the front brake, they just bridged the cable over, very much like a V-brake. And what I noticed in one of these setups is that when you do that, the front brake feels like you have a whole lot more pulling power than the rear brake. And I'm a mechanical engineer by degree, and so when I looked at it analytically, what I discovered was that's why mountain bikes and BMX racing bikes went to the V-brake, is because you actually get more power, and that is due to the compression of the cable. Normally, so when you pull on the brake lever, the cable goes under tension, but then the housing here goes into compression. And that's why you can have a curved cable. See how it's curved way up here? Because on the inside of this loop, that's all in compression. But when it's attached to the frame here, you lose that compression force, because that compression force is confined in between the mount and the brake lever. And so the compression force is just there to keep the cable stiff so that you can have your tension. And then your tension would split in two here, one to each arm. And so what this setup does is now it takes that compression, and instead of losing that compression into the frame, it transfers it into the brake. And so now the tension that you have in the cable is basically doubled, because you have that tension on this arm, and then you have that compression transferred into this arm. And so that's why I'm doing it that way. You can see here that I've got a little bit of misalignment here because of the way this V-brake stirrup is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip that over, and so then my little cable slot will be on the bottom now, but that'll put this more in line with each other, and and it'll line it up better for a more direct power transfer. But that focused, I don't have the right glasses on. Anyway, but it's really smooth and it gives you a whole lot more pulling power than having a bridge. The other thing that happens, I'll put this back upright. The other thing that happens when you have the mount here is that if you run your cable from here, it's not in the same plane. So if I take this stick and I run my cable here, like that's my cable, that is not in the same plane as the brake itself and the way the brake moves. So now you're adding additional loss of tension force, and you're creating a moment arm around the brake mount, which causes excess wear and friction that you don't need as well. So I don't know why that BMX manufacturers with U-brakes have not picked up on this and have not, made the proper adjustments to. I'm messing with the camera while I'm talking. It's not a good setup. But I don't know why BMX companies haven't had an engineer actually look at this. Like they come up with all their designs and they put it on there so that it looks cool. And I'm sure you can dial them in and they work great, but it's not optimal. But mountain biking and BMX racing companies, they've got it figured out. And to me, my opinion, the U-brakes, they look beefy. It's a more rugged look. And I get that. I agree with that. I like that rugged look for a bike that you're doing tricks on and heavy duty pounding. But still, they figured out how to optimize it on the front brake to make it work with a detangler and a POTS mod. Why not do that for the back brake too? So that's what I'm doing here. Next steps for this thing, now that I've got my brake setup figured out, I'm gonna get the bottom bracket installed, and then just start putting everything together. There's not anything else really special or fancy about it. The wheels need, I don't know if that shows in the video, but the wheels just need cleaned up and polished up. And then I'm going to put my makeshift Peregrine 48 stickers on the hubs. Again, I'm going for a look, not necessarily a 100% accurate thing. It's obviously not even a double top tube bike. I've talked about that before. But that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing now. So I don't know. I'll probably go ahead and just do a time lapse of putting the rest of it together. Because I'm just putting the rest of it together at this point. Nothing special or fancy. So cue time lapse. All right, I had a snag. So I did not take into account that these newer frames are made for the 25 tooth, 9-tooth gearing, and as such, the chain stays here flare out wider, and even my 39 tooth sprocket will not fit and line up with my 13 tooth freewheel in the back. So I messed around with different spacers and stuff, and there's no way to get this close, so I'm at a standstill. What I did do though is I hopped on the interwebs and I went back to BMX Guru, and I got the 25 tooth version of this chain wheel, and I found a set of sealed bearing 48 hole double wall silver rims with 3/8 front axle, 14 millimeter rear axle with the 9-tooth freewheel. So they won't be the high flange hubs that I can put my fake Peregrine 48 stickers on, but they will still fit the look of the bike without those stickers. So I'm waiting for those to come in, and when they get in, then I will proceed to finish putting the bike back together. Sorry for the bad news, but thanks for watching. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you a preview of what I got coming up next. Stand by. All right, there it is. That's what I got coming up next. An old school full reel Redline 600C all chromoly that I picked up off Marketplace. I got this one, messing around with the camera again because I suck. Okay. I got this one because it is the closest thing I could find to my very first brand name bicycle, which was Hazard Yellow, but it was a 500B, I believe. But this is a pretty close match. Same color, same handlebars, same crank, same forks. The only difference being that this is all chromoly with the chrome front end and back end. So after I get my tribute bike finished up, I'll be working on this one to restore it, so to speak. It didn't come with wheels. I got some cheap wheels that I'm going to put on it. Maybe eventually I'll buy some better wheels for it. But I think what I'm going to do is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put new stickers on it. Like, that doesn't look bad in the camera, but the stickers are in rough shape. But I'm going to keep the paint and chrome and just clean it up, shine it up, and get as much rust off of it as I can. Keep it as original as I can, but put some new stickers on there so they really pop. So anyway, I'm terrible with this camera. All right, so anyway, that's the next project that I got coming up. Thanks for watching.